that feel for you?
It's been a blessing, honestly, just to know that your work doesn't go unnoticed is always something that's so true and pure to me because, a lot of us don't do the work for the glitz and the glamour. We do it because it means.
Whistleblowers. WNBA rocked by ref scandal, Aya Wilson at center of storm. Protect Caitlin Clark. What's up, World Hoopers? Get ready because the WNBA, a league built on incredible talent and fierce competition.
That she would be serenaded by Usher in her 20s. She would probably laugh at you because why would I ever be in the same space as him? But he's a great entertainer. He knows how to execute. I did call him out a few times, so I feel like he felt some.
Is currently facing a monumental credibility crisis. Forget your usual game highlights. Today, we're diving deep into an unfolding drama that has players, coaches, and fans alike up in arms. This isn't just about a few bad calls. It's about a systemic issue that threatens to undermine the very integrity of the sport. And at the heart of this storm, a shocking moment involving two-time MVP Aya Wilson and the Indiana Fever's Lexi Hull. A moment so egregious it's blown the lid off a simmering controversy, exposing what many are now calling corrupt officiating.
It's probably tied between this year and then the year going into 2023. Those are my two best shape of my life.
This isn't just news, it's a rebellion, and we're here to give you the unvarnished truth. If you're tired of sugarcoating and demand real answers, hit that like button. Let us know your thoughts on these controversial referees in the comments. And let's get into it. Let's rewind to the pivotal play that ignited this inferno. It was a sequence that every single person watching, from the seasoned broadcast crew to the coaches practically ripping their hair out on the sidelines, instantly recognized as fundamentally wrong. The Indiana Fever, without their superstar Caitlin Clark, were battling the reigning champions, the Las Vegas Aces. Lexi Hull, a picture of textbook basketball, perfectly boxed out Aya Wilson. She established her position, held her ground, and was poised for the rebound, exactly as every basketball coach teaches. Then Aya Wilson came barreling over Hull's back, making undeniable contact, hacking at the ball, disrupting Hull's perfectly executed play. Now, according to the rule book, this is an over-the-back foul, a straightforward call resulting in possession for the Indiana Fever. Easy peasy, right? Except apparently not. In a move that defied logic, the officials blew the whistle and signaled for a jump ball. A jump ball? The collective gasp from the arena and the thousands watching at home was almost audible. This wasn't a close call. It was a clear-cut, blatant foul that was inexplicably rewarded with a 50-50 possession call, giving the ball right back to Las Vegas via the possession arrow. It was a glitch in the matrix, a moment so baffling it felt like time itself had warped. This wasn't some nuanced interpretation or a borderline judgment. It was a fundamental misapplication of the rules, turning a clear foul into a benefit for the player committing it. And just like that, the floodgates opened. This short, viral clip became the undeniable, irrefutable evidence of a problem that players, coaches, and fans have been seething about for months. The quiet whispers, the frustrated glances, the exasperated reactions on the court. It all suddenly had a face, a moment, a definitive smoking gun. This wasn't just a random bad call, it was a straw that broke the camel's back, confirming the deepest fears that WNBA officiating has become sloppy, biased, and inconsistent, perhaps even designed to favor certain star players. Because if you zoom out from that single bewildering play, it becomes clear it's not an isolated incident.
Play in the world, that's great, it looks great, but I want to be the best person. I want to be the best teammate, because that's how I get the best out of my team. So when it comes to wins...
This jump ball fiasco is merely the most glaring example of what many fans have been tracking with almost scientific precision, a phenomenon they've playfully, or perhaps not so playfully, dubbed Whistle Wilson. It's more than just a catchy nickname. It's a grassroots movement, a data project born out of frustration, where devoted WNBA followers have meticulously observed Aya Wilson's minutes, tallying up every soft whistle, every forgiving no call, every preferential treatment. And this game provided the hard data to back up the anecdotes. The numbers are frankly staggering. Aya Wilson by herself went to the free throw line a whopping 13 times. Contrast that with the entire Indiana Fever roster, all 12 players across 4 full quarters, who combined for a meager 17 free throws. Think about that for a second. One player almost matched an entire team's free throw attempts. It's an imbalance so stark it begs the question, are we watching a fair contest or a carefully curated narrative? Even the usually diplomatic commentators couldn't ignore it. You could hear them tripping over their words, trying to maintain neutrality while grappling with the undeniable reality unfolding before their eyes. With resigned honesty, one analyst admitted they're trying to keep Vegas in it. Another, more cautiously, didn't dispute it. Even the most stoic professionals were forced to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Superstars like Wilson seem to operate under a different rulebook. Superstars get the whistle, they said, almost as an accepted truth. But that very acceptance is what's eroding trust. Because if fans begin to believe that the WNBA's biggest names are cloaked in invisible force fields of special treatment, it chips away at the very essence of fair play. It suggests that games are decided not by grit, skill, or heart, but by who the officials feel like rewarding that night. The jump ball wasn't just a blown whistle. It was a chilling confirmation of every fan's worst fear, that the outcomes might hinge on biased officiating, not what actually unfolds on the hardwood. So I have to ask you, do you buy into the special whistle theory? Let us know your take in the comments below. But here's the truly mind-blowing twist. The element that elevates this from a typical sports controversy to a full-blown league-wide meltdown. The outrage wasn't just erupting from the Indiana Fever sideline or their fiercely loyal fan base. It was also shockingly coming from Las Vegas itself. Yes, the Aces, the very team benefiting from these lopsided calls, were just as fed up. Head coach Becky Hammon was visibly annoyed, her arms often folded, glaring at the refs after yet another bizarre whistle. Even with her team on the receiving end of these dubious calls, she looked utterly disgusted. And when Hammond sat down for her post-game press conference, she didn't mince words. She didn't blame her players or chalk it up to a lack of effort. No, she aimed her criticism squarely at the officials, who she believed had completely lost control of the game. Her exact words were a stunner. "I thought they were grabbing and holding us. It's a rugby match and my team doesn't want to play rugby back. So we got our ass kicked." Full stop. Think about the weight of that statement. This is the coach of the reigning MVP, whose team was getting every borderline call, outright telling the media that the officiating had allowed the game to devolve into chaos. When even the beneficiaries of the dubious whistles believe the refs have steered the ship off course, it's no longer about bias. It's about a total collapse of the league's ability to maintain a professional product. Meanwhile, on the opposite sideline, Indiana's head coach Stephanie White was staging her own very public protest. With just over 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter and her Fever team holding a commanding 20-point lead, White finally snapped. She charged the nearest official, unleashed a torrent of frustration, and promptly earned herself a technical foul. This wasn't a meltdown born of desperation in a tight game. This was a calculated explosion. A respected coach on the verge of one of her biggest wins, standing up in front of the entire basketball world to declare, "This is not okay." It was her unmistakable message to the officials and by extension to the league office that this was no longer legitimate basketball. And the reaction from her superstar point guard, Caitlin Clark, was priceless. Clark, not even on the floor at that moment, leapt off the bench, beaming, hand raised, practically sprinting to give White a high five. That instant, caught on camera, was a perfect microcosm of the team's collective frustration. From the coaching staff down to the franchise player, they are unified in their disgust at how these games are being officiated. The Indiana Fever, who hadn't beaten the Aces in 16 games, who were swept by them last season, and who managed this monumental upset without Caitlin Clark, showcased a newfound defensive tenacity that stunned everyone. As the commentators noted, their defensive progress had gone up 100%. They dominated the paint and shot an insane 90% from the field in the second quarter. This team, now firing on all cylinders, isn't just winning, they're sending a message. When you have two opposing coaches in the same game essentially co-signing that the referees are incompetent, one by calling it a rugby scrum, the other by drawing a technical foul on purpose, that's not a matter of debate. It's an undeniable indictment. The officials failed spectacularly, and everyone in that arena knew it. Worse still, this wasn't just an isolated night. That level of shared outrage didn't materialize out of nowhere. It was a culmination of an entire season's worth of mounting frustrations finally boiling over under the brightest possible lights. For weeks behind the scenes, This storm has been brewing. Off camera, there's been a steadily growing consensus, reportedly among players, coaches, and executives alike, that WNBA officiating has become wildly inconsistent, that refs have lost the ability, or perhaps the will, to control overly physical play, and that the standard of enforcement changes from one game to the next. Hammond's rugby comment wasn't just an offhand insult, it was the core of the entire crisis. It's not just about missed foul calls, it's about the total inability to rein in the rough stuff, which stifles offensive flow and massively increases the risk of injury. Players are privately expressing that the league has allowed these contests to become brutal slogs where the rulebook is treated more like a suggestion than a definitive guide. And this fight isn't new for Stephanie White. She's been waging war against this officiating mess all season. Earlier this year, she was already fined by the league for publicly torching the refs. That technical foul the other night wasn't a first strike. It was a continuation of her full-on campaign to hold the league accountable for protecting its athletes. So why did it all explode in this particular game? Simple, the stage. This wasn't some quiet Tuesday night undercard. This was the two-time defending champions with the reigning MVP facing off against the WNBA's hottest draw, Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever. Every camera was rolling. Every big-name analyst was watching. Every fan had their eyes locked on the court. And under that glaring spotlight, the officiating didn't just bend. It snapped. That egregious over-the-back jump ball from Aya Wilson on Lexi Hall was so painfully obvious, so indisputable, that it became the perfect smoking gun. It was the visual evidence that finally pulled the lid off all those private complaints echoing around locker rooms and bus rides. It was a flashpoint that transformed months of whispered discontent into the dominant public conversation. The outrage that had been building under the surface suddenly had a viral moment, a moment the league couldn't just quietly sweep under the rug.